Hey, sixth graders, this is part 2 that we're going to talk about. In your health book, you want to be at the bottom of page 121. My face is kind of right over it. I'll put it underneath it. And what it's talking to you about there is the difference between the central and peripheral nervous system. That's key today in the assignment that you're doing. So you want to understand the difference between them. And so what it tells you there is that figure 5, which is that picture over on the right as you look at it of the human body. It says it shows the organs of your central nervous system, which is sometimes called the CNS because central nervous system is a mouthful, and your peripheral nervous system, which is sometimes referred to as the PNS. Your central nervous system is your brain and your spinal cord. So those two parts together make up the central nervous system. Your peripheral nervous system is all of the nerves that travel away from your spinal cord. So if you look at that diagram, you see your spinal cord in yellow, your brain up there in your head, and then of course all the nerves and neuron pathways are in green. And so you've got miles and miles of peripheral nervous system in your body, and then just two key parts of the central nervous system, which are your brain and your spinal cord. Okay, if you keep going down to page 122 and 3. These are the last 2 pages of your reading that you're going to focus on today, and they ask you to look a lot at your brain. So if you look at figure 6 up in the top left-hand corner, I always think that picture is kind of interesting because it shows you the biggest part of your brain, which is your cerebrum. That's that part that kind of comes from your eyebrows and wraps all the way around to the back of your head. It has all of those little wormy-like structures in it, and that's the part of the brain where we see all of the color coding, because that color coding shows you where in your brain you actually do certain tasks. Like the part at the back of the head there is kind of colored a hot pink, and that's your vision center. So if you're ever in an accident and you hit the back of your head real hard and you think, gosh, my vision's kind of blurring, it's because that's probably where you've traumatized your brain. The front is your intellect and your personality. So if you've ever had a blow to the front of your head, maybe you just don't seem quite yourself. Your personality isn't what it normally is. The red area is speech. The blue area is your sensory areas. Yellow is hearing, very deep. Look at that. It's deep in the middle of your brain. And then the green area is your language development. Under those color-coded parts, you see the cerebellum. I always say that it has much tighter ridges. It's not wormy-like. It looks more like the ridges you might find in a walnut. And then you have your brain stem. This is where your hindbrain, your pons that you heard about in the video, that's where those are located in that brain stem. So then you just have some quick reading there to do on the brain today. Cerebrum should be familiar to you because we talked about the cerebrum, the largest part of the brain, where all of your sensory nerve impulses go. It's where your memory is stored, all your movements. So if you're a really good gymnast and you're good at tumbling and dancing, that's your cerebrum. That's really developed well. The cerebellum is that much smaller part. So this is your cerebrum. Remember, cerebellum is tinier and tucked underneath it. And your cerebellum takes stimuli from your eyes and ears and your muscles and tendons and your tissues, and they interpret them. So with this information, your cerebellum is able to coordinate all of your voluntary muscle movements and maintain your muscle tone and help you with your balance. So if you've ever been sick or seem kind of uncoordinated, it's indicating something's going on in your cerebellum. At first, when we're born, our balance isn't real good. We don't walk right after we're born. We don't know how to ride a bike because your cerebellum is developing. And then finally, your brainstem is what connects to your spinal cord. Okay, go to it. Maybe I can get the video to stop.